Sarah Chen checked her phone for the third time that hour. The medical bay was quiet, and she had already organized her equipment twice. Being a xenobiologist on a trading station meant lots of waiting. She scrolled through her favorite cat video playlist, smiling at a clip of a kitten trying to catch its own tail. The station felt cold today. Not temperature-wise, but emotionally. The Calaxians who shared this orbital platform barely acknowledged her existence. They were tall, covered in scales that shifted colors with their moods and moved like predators. Everything about them screamed danger. Their faces reminded her of panthers mixed with lizards, and their eyes tracked movement with unnerving precision. Sarah had been on the station for 3 weeks. In that time, she had conducted exactly 2 medical scans and attended 5 incredibly awkward diplomatic dinners. The Calaxians thought humans were weak. They said it in their language, not knowing her translator caught every word. Soft pink things was their favorite description. She sighed and went back to her cat videos. A orange tabby was sitting in a cardboard box that was clearly too small. The cat didn't care. It squeezed itself in anyway, looking perfectly content. Sarah laughed softly. The door to the medical bay hissed open. Sarah quickly put her phone in her pocket and stood up, expecting another scheduled scan. Instead, a small Calaxian stumbled through the door. The young one's scales were flickering between blue and purple, colors Sarah's briefing material said meant distress or fear. The cub couldn't have been more than waist-high to Sarah. She had the same predatory features as the adults, but rounder, less sharp. Her large eyes were wet, and she was holding her arm close to her body. Dark blood seeped through her fingers. "Hey, it's okay," Sarah said softly, holding up her hands. She moved slowly, the way she would approach a scared animal. The cub backed against the wall. Her scales flashed red for a moment, then back to purple. She was trying to look brave and failing. She said something in Calaxian that Sarah's translator garbled into nonsense. Sarah tapped her translator. The device made an unhappy beeping sound. Of course it would malfunction now. She tried again, speaking slowly. "I help, okay? I help you." The cub's eyes darted to the door, then to her injured arm, then back to Sarah. She was clearly weighing her options. Finally, she held out her arm just a little. Sarah took that as permission. She moved carefully, keeping her movements smooth and predictable. The wound wasn't deep, just a scrape that had torn through the scales, probably from falling on the station's rough metal surfaces. She pulled out her medical kit and began cleaning the wound. The cub made a small whimpering sound. Her scales went darker, almost black at the edges. Sarah recognized shame when she saw it, even on an alien face. The cub was upset about showing pain. "It's okay to hurt," Sarah said gently, even though she wasn't sure the translator was working. "Everyone hurts sometimes." The cub's scales flickered rapidly. She was definitely trying not to cry. Sarah's heart ached. This was just a child, alien or not, trying to be brave because someone had told her she had to be. Sarah finished cleaning the wound and applied a universal healing gel that worked on most species. The cub watched with wide eyes. Then Sarah had an idea. It was probably against some protocol, but protocols hadn't gotten her anywhere with the Calaxians. She pulled out her phone and opened her video folder. She scrolled past the recent ones and found one of her favorites. A tiny black and white kitten, maybe 6 weeks old, attempting to jump onto a bed. The kitten crouched, wiggled its back end, and leaped. It missed entirely and fell into a pile of blankets. Sarah held the phone where the cub could see it. The young Calaxian's eyes went wide. Her scales stopped flickering and settled into a soft green color. Her mouth opened slightly. The video continued. The kitten tried again, failed again, then finally made it on the 3rd attempt. It sat on the bed looking incredibly proud of itself. The cub made a sound. It started as a clicking in her throat and turned into a chittering rhythm. She was laughing. Her scales turned bright yellow with streaks of orange. "You like that?" Sarah asked, smiling. She played another video. This one showed a gray kitten discovering its reflection in a mirror. The kitten pawed at the mirror, confused and fascinated. The cub leaned closer, her injured arm forgotten. She pointed at the phone and said something that sounded like a question. "Cats," Sarah said. "We call them cats. Small predators. We keep them in our homes." The cub looked shocked. She said something else, more insistent. Sarah's translator sputtered to life. "I keep hunters inside." "For war?" "No, for fun," Sarah said. "For company." "Because they're cute." The translator must have failed again because the cub looked utterly confused. Sarah just showed her another video. A fluffy white cat was trying to fit into a glass bowl. Its back half stuck out, but the cat seemed happy anyway. The cub chittered again, louder this time. Her scales were bright yellow now, almost glowing. She reached toward the phone with one claw, then pulled back, looking uncertain. "It's okay," Sarah said. She held the phone closer. The cub gently touched the screen with one claw tip. The video paused. The cub jerked her hand back, alarmed. Sarah showed her how to tap to play again. The cub's eyes went even wider. She looked at Sarah, at the phone, and back at Sarah. They spent the next 10 minutes watching cat videos together. Sarah showed her kittens playing with string. Cats jumping and missing their targets, cats sitting in boxes, cats being startled by cucumbers. Each video made the cub's scales glow brighter and her chittering laughter louder. Then the door hissed open again. An adult Calaxian stood in the doorway, his scales dark red with anger. He said something sharp and fast. The cub's scales immediately went gray, all the color draining away. She stepped back from Sarah and the phone. The adult male strode forward and grabbed the cub's hand. He examined her bandaged arm, then looked at Sarah with what could only be suspicion. He said something else, slower, that the translator caught. "What did you do to her?" "I treated her wound," Sarah said calmly. "She was hurt and scared. I helped." The male looked at the phone in Sarah's hand. His scales flickered with confusion. The cub said something quiet, pleading. She pointed at the phone. The male's eyes narrowed. He pulled the cub toward the door. As they left, the cub looked back over her shoulder at Sarah. Her scales flickered yellow for just a moment, then gray again as the male spoke to her sharply. The door closed. Sarah stood alone in the medical bay, still holding her phone. The screen showed a frozen image of a tabby cat stuck halfway through a cat door. She wondered if she had just made things better or worse. Probably worse, knowing her luck. The Calaxians were already suspicious of humans. Now she had corrupted one of their young with videos of Earth animals doing silly things. But the cub had laughed. Sarah had seen her scales turn from distressed purple to happy yellow. For a few minutes, that child had forgotten to be afraid. That had to count for something. Sarah saved the video file and labeled it. She had a feeling she might see that cub again. If the young one was anything like human children, she would find a way to come back for more cat videos. Sarah smiled and put her phone away. Maybe humanity's greatest diplomatic tool wasn't fancy technology or military strength. Maybe it was just the simple joy of watching a kitten fall off a couch. 1 week passed before Sarah saw the cub again. She had almost convinced herself it was a one-time thing. Then she heard a soft scratching at her quarters door during her lunch break. She opened the door and found the young Calaxian standing there, trying to look casual and failing completely. Her scales kept shifting between gray and hopeful green. "Hi," Sarah said, smiling. "Want to come in?" The cub nodded quickly and slipped inside. She looked around Sarah's small quarters with obvious curiosity. The walls were covered with photos from Earth. Gardens, cities, mountains, and of course, several pictures of cats. The cub pointed at a photo of Sarah's cat from back home, a lazy orange tabby named Mango. She said something that the translator turned into, "The small hunter from the lightbox?" "Yes," Sarah said. "That's my cat. His name is Mango." The cub tried to repeat the word. It came out as Mango. She seemed pleased with herself. Then she pointed at Sarah's phone with obvious hope. Sarah laughed. "You came for more videos, didn't you?" The cub's scales turned bright yellow. She nodded enthusiastically. That became their routine. Every day during what the Calaxians called meditation time, the cub would sneak to Sarah's quarters. Sarah learned the cub's name was Rixka, and she was the daughter of the clan leader. That explained why the adult male had been so angry. He was probably her guard. During their sessions, Sarah learned more about Calaxian culture than she had in all her official briefings. She learned it mostly from what Rixka found strange about the videos. One day, Sarah showed her a video of a dog reunion. A soldier came home from deployment and his golden retriever went completely wild with joy, spinning in circles and jumping. Rixka's scales went confused gray. The hunter celebrates the return of the warrior? The dog missed him, Sarah explained. They love each other, but the dog is kept? Like a prisoner? No, like family. That concept clearly didn't translate well. Rixka watched the video 3 more times, her scales flickering with thought. Finally, she said, if Calaxian warriors failed to hunt, they would be sent away from the clan. This warrior leaves the dog hunter and it still loves him when he returns. Sarah felt a chill. Yes, love doesn't stop just because someone makes a mistake or has to leave. Rixka was quiet for a long time. Then she asked to see more reunion videos. Another day, Sarah showed her a compilation of animals failing at simple tasks. Cats missing jumps, dogs running into glass doors, pandas falling out of trees. Each failure was met with the animal trying again, or just looking confused and moving on. Rixka watched with intense focus. When it ended, she asked, "The other animals do not attack them. For showing weakness?" "No," Sarah said gently. "Why would they?" "Because that is how one teaches. Through correction." Sarah chose her words carefully. "On Earth, we learn better when we feel safe to fail. Punishment makes us afraid to try." Rixka's scales went very still, barely showing any color. "I failed my first hunting test. My father did not speak to me for 5 days. I thought—" She stopped, her scales flickering purple. "I thought he would send me away." Sarah wanted to hug the child, but wasn't sure if Calaxians accepted that kind of contact. Instead, she said, "You know what I think? I think your father was probably scared. Scared something would happen to you. Sometimes adults show fear by being angry." Rixka looked up at her. "The human warrior knows this?" "I'm not a warrior," Sarah said. "But yes, I know this." After that, Rixka started asking more questions. About Earth, about humans, about families. Sarah answered as honestly as she could. She showed Rixka videos of human children playing, laughing, making mistakes. She showed her people being silly, dancing badly, singing off-key. "Humans are not afraid to be foolish," Rixka asked one day. "Sometimes we are," Sarah admitted. "But we decided that having fun is more important than looking perfect." Rixka seemed to think about this a lot. Her scales would go thoughtful blue whenever Sarah said something that challenged what she had been taught. But their secret couldn't last forever. During one session, Sarah showed Rixka a video of a cat being surprised by a cucumber. The cat jumped about 3 feet in the air, all 4 legs spread wide. It was objectively hilarious. Rixka's chittering laugh was loud, louder than usual. She couldn't help it. The laughter just burst out of her. The problem was, this happened during a diplomatic dinner in the station's common area. Sarah was in her quarters, but Rixka was supposed to be at the dinner, sitting quietly and observing the adults. Sarah found out later what happened. Rixka had been thinking about the cat video during the dinner. One of the adult Calaxians had knocked over a glass, and it reminded Rixka of the cat's dramatic reaction. She started chittering with laughter right there at the formal table. Every Calaxian turned to stare at her. The clan leader, her father, had scales that went deep red with embarrassment. Rixka's guard, Teklon, looked horrified. Rixka, thinking quickly, claimed she had remembered a funny moment from hunting training. The adults seemed to accept this, but Sarah could tell from the way Rixka's scales were gray with shame the next day that it had been bad. "I almost revealed our secret," Rixka said quietly. "Teklon is watching me now. He suspects something." Sarah felt guilty. "Maybe we should stop for a while." "No." Rixka's scales flashed bright orange with distress. "These moments they are when I can breathe. When I can be small without it being wrong." That broke Sarah's heart. Being small isn't wrong. You're a child. You should be allowed to play. "Calaxians do not play," Rixka said. "We train. We prepare. We prove our worth to the clan." "That sounds exhausting." "It is." Rixka's voice was so quiet Sarah almost missed it. They continued their sessions, but more carefully. Sarah taught Rixka to be quiet during the videos, to save her chittering laughter for when they were safely alone. Rixka taught Sarah some Calaxian words: small hunter for cat, joy giver for dog, soft paws for any animal that made Rixka particularly happy. Sarah expanded the video selection. She showed Rixka baby otters holding hands while sleeping, elephants playing in water, a crow solving a puzzle. Rixka absorbed it all with hungry eyes. "There are so many creatures on your world," Rixka said one day, "and humans watch them just to watch them?" "Yes, we find them interesting." "And cute." "Cute," Rixka repeated. She had learned this word quickly. It was her favorite. "Calaxians do not have a word for this. Maybe you should make one." Rixka's scales went bright with excitement, then faded to nervous gray. "That is not how language works for us. The elders decide new words, and that sounds limiting." "It is. Traditional." Sarah was learning that traditional was Calaxian for we've always done it. This way and change is scary. She didn't say that out loud, though. The close call during the dinner made Teclon suspicious. Sarah saw him watching her during station meetings. His scales were always a suspicious orange when he looked at her. She knew it was only a matter of time before he figured out where Rixka was going during meditation time. One afternoon, Sarah answered her door to find Teclon standing there with Rixka. The guard's scales were dark red, almost black with anger. Rixka's were pure gray with fear. "What have you been teaching her?" Teclon demanded. The translator caught every word perfectly this time. Sarah's heart pounded, but she kept her voice calm. "Teaching her? We've just been watching videos. She asks questions now. Questions about emotions, about play, about Earth animals. You are corrupting her with soft human ideas." "I'm showing her that it's okay to be young," Sarah said. "There's a difference." Teclon's eyes narrowed. He held out his hand. "Show me these videos." Sarah looked at Rixka. The cub's scales were flickering between gray and purple. She was terrified. Sarah made a decision. She pulled out her phone and handed it to Teclon. "Here," she said. "See for yourself." Teclon held the phone like it might explode. He looked at the screen. Sarah had left it open to a video of a cat trying to jump from a counter to a refrigerator. The cat miscalculated, hit the side of the refrigerator, and slid down comically. Teclon watched. His scales flickered. He watched the video again. Then he looked at Sarah with an expression she couldn't read. "This is what you show her?" "Yes." Teclon held the phone tighter. "I must take this. For security evaluation." Before Sarah could protest, he turned and walked away, taking her phone with him. Rixka gave Sarah one last desperate look before Teclon pulled her along. Sarah spent 2 days worrying about her phone, not because of the device itself, but because of what would happen to Rixka. She had gotten the cub in trouble. She had probably made things worse between humans and Galaxians. She paced her quarters and considered requesting an early transfer off the station. On the evening of the second day, someone knocked on her door. Not scratched like Rixka did, but a formal, heavy knock. Sarah opened it to find 5 Galaxians standing there. Teclon was in the front holding her phone. Behind him was a massive Galaxian with scales that shifted between deep blue and purple. Sarah recognized him from briefing photos. Vornthak, the clan leader, Rixka's father. 3 other elder Galaxians stood behind them, all watching Sarah with unreadable expressions. Sarah's mouth went dry. This was it. She was about to be thrown off the station or worse. Vornthak spoke first. His voice was deep and measured. "Dr. Chen, we must speak with you about the archives." "Archives?" Sarah repeated. Teclon held up her phone. "The small predator archives." "You have many," Sarah blinked. "You mean the cat videos?" "If that is what you call them, yes." Vornthak's scales shifted. "I must know. Do your people have more of these archives?" This was not the conversation Sarah had expected. Yes? There are millions of videos online. Maybe billions." The 5 Galaxians exchanged looks. Their scales did a complicated pattern Sarah couldn't interpret. One of the elders, a female with silver-tinted scales, stepped forward. "Millions? Of just the small predators?" "And other animals," Sarah said. "Dogs, birds, otters, pandas, rabbits. We film animals doing all kinds of things." "Why?" the elder asked. Sarah thought about how to explain internet culture to aliens. "Because they make us happy. Because they're interesting. Because we like to share things that bring us joy." Vornthak's scales went a lighter shade of blue. "I watched many of your archives. The small predators attempting to jump and failing. The ones grooming themselves and falling over. The tiny ones learning to walk. And?" Sarah asked carefully. Vornthak's scales flickered in a way that looked almost embarrassed. "I found myself invested in their success. When the small orange predator finally caught the red dot, I felt satisfaction. When the black and white one fell off the scratching structure, I wanted to see it try again." Teclon nodded. "I watched the archive of cats being startled by inanimate objects 17 times. I cannot explain why," the silver elder spoke quietly. "The small gray one that could not reach its food and called for help. When the larger predator came and helped it, I felt—" She stopped, struggling with words. "We do not have a word for this feeling." "Affection?" Sarah suggested. "Tenderness? The feeling of caring about something small and vulnerable?" The Galaxians looked at each other again. Vornthak nodded slowly. "Perhaps. This is unexpected. We are warriors. We are hunters. We should not be moved by these tiny creatures failing at simple tasks. Why not? Sarah asked. Being strong doesn't mean you can't appreciate cuteness. Cute, the Silver Elder repeated. Rixka has been using this word. We did not understand. Now I think I begin to. Vornthak stepped closer. Dr. Chen, I must ask something of you. Can you show us how to access more of these archives? Sarah stared at him. You want me to show you the internet? If that is the source of these archives, yes. Sarah looked at Teklon. But I thought you said I was corrupting Rixka. Teklon's scales went darker. I believed you were making her weak. But I have watched your archives for 2 days. I have thought deeply. The small predators fail many times, yet they try again. They show no shame in falling or missing their target. They simply continue. He paused. This is not weakness. This is a different kind of strength, Vornthak continued. My daughter came to me yesterday. She asked why we punish cubs for failing. I had no good answer. I realized that I became angry when she failed her hunting test, not because she was weak, but because I remembered my own failures. My own fear of not being enough. His scales went quiet gray. The small orange predator in the archives tried to jump to the tall surface 6 times. On the 7th attempt, it succeeded, and no other predators attacked it for the 6 failures. Sarah felt something shift in her chest. You're saying the cat videos made you think about how you raise your children? They made me think about many things, Vornthak said. My clan is strong. We are feared as warriors. But when was the last time we laughed together? When did we last celebrate something simple? He looked at the other elders. We have been so focused on strength that we forgot about joy. The Silver Elder nodded. My grandson asked me yesterday what game I played as a cub. I could not remember. I could only remember training exercises and tests. Surely this is not right. Sarah felt tears prick her eyes. She blinked them back. Okay, yes, I'll show you how to access more videos. She led them all into her quarters. It was crowded with 6 people in the small space, but no one complained. Sarah pulled out her tablet and connected it to the station's network. She carefully bypassed the security restrictions, hoping she wouldn't get in trouble later, and opened up a connection to Earth's internet. This is YouTube, she explained. It's a website where people share videos. Billions of videos about everything. She showed them how to search. She typed in funny cats and hit enter. Thousands of results appeared. The Calaxians leaned in, their scales bright with interest. Sarah clicked on a video. A cat sat in a cardboard box. Another cat approached and tried to squeeze into the same box. The 2 cats ended up in a rolling, playful fight, both trying to claim the box. Neither would give up. Teklon's scales flickered with amusement. The territory dispute over the container. This is strategic. Or they're just playing, Sarah said, smiling. She showed them how to search for other things. Dogs brought up videos of dogs doing everything from herding sheep to falling in swimming pools. Baby animals revealed a treasure trove of creatures learning to walk, play, and explore. Vornthak watched a video of puppies discovering stairs for the first time. The tiny dogs approached the stairs with uncertainty, tried to climb, tumbled backward, and tried again. His scales went through a rainbow of colors. They are so small, so determined. Like your cubs, Sarah said gently. Vornthak looked at her. Yes, like our cubs. We expect them to be warriors immediately. We forget they must learn. We forget they need time to be small. The elders spent the next 2 hours exploring YouTube. Sarah created accounts for each of them, showing them how to like videos and save favorites. She introduced them to recommended videos and channels. The Silver Elder found a video of unlikely animal friendships. A dog and a duck sleeping together. A cat grooming a rabbit. A crow bringing gifts to a kitten. Her scales went soft pink. They are not the same species, yet they care for each other. Yes, Sarah said. Care doesn't need a reason. Vornthak was deep into a compilation of cats knocking things off tables. He watched each item fall with what looked like scientific interest, but his scales kept flickering yellow with amusement. Teklon had found dog reunion videos. He watched soldiers coming home to their dogs, families reuniting with lost pets, service dogs meeting their new owners. His scales were wet. Sarah realized with shock that he was crying. These bonds, Teklon said quietly. The humans and the animals love each other. Yes, Sarah said. We do not have this with our hunting beasts. We train them, use them. But this is different. It's companionship, Sarah said. It's love without purpose. Just love because it feels good. One of the elders looked up from a video of hedgehogs. Is this common among humans? To care for creatures that serve no function? Very common, Sarah said. We think life is better with animals in it. Even if they don't help us hunt or guard us or do anything useful, they make us happy. That's enough. The Calaxians absorbed this in silence. Then Vornthak spoke. I wish to propose something. Tomorrow evening I want to gather my clan, all of them. I want to show them these archives. Sarah hesitated. Are you sure? Some of your warriors might think it's weak. Vornthak's scales went firm blue. Let them think that. Then I will ask them why finding joy is weakness, why laughter is shameful, why watching tiny predators learn to walk is corrupting. He stood taller. We will have a clan gathering. A video night, as you humans might call it. Sarah couldn't help but smile. A video night. For watching cat videos. And dogs, Teklon added. The dogs are also acceptable, the Silver Elder nodded. And the small swimming ones. The otters. We will watch many archives, Vornthak decided. We will learn from them. And perhaps we will remember what it is to be alive, not just to be warriors. The clan video night changed everything. Sarah set up a large projection screen in the Calaxian common area. 50 warriors, elders, and cubs gathered, many looking suspicious or confused. Vornthak stood before them and announced they would be watching Earth Animal Archives. The response was mixed. Some warriors crossed their arms, scales dark with disapproval. Others looked curious. The cubs wiggled with poorly hidden excitement. Sarah started with safe choices. A compilation of cats doing parkour, leaping between furniture with incredible grace. The warriors appreciated that. They nodded at the cats' hunting skills, their balance and precision. Then she showed a blooper reel. Cats missing their jumps, landing in water bowls, getting stuck in small spaces, falling off counters in slow motion. The first few minutes were silent. Then a cub chittered with laughter. Then another. Then Teklon, who couldn't help himself when a cat tried to jump through a screen door and bounced off spectacularly. By the end of the evening, 40 of the 50 Calaxians had flickered yellow scales at least once. Several warriors had requested specific videos to be shown again. The Silver Elder had cried openly during a video of a dog reunion. What Sarah didn't expect was how quickly it would spread. By the end of the week, the Calaxians had watched thousands of hours of content. Sarah had helped them set up tablets and personal devices with internet access. Now she saw warriors watching videos during break time, cubs huddled together over screens, elders discussing their favorite animal channels. The diplomatic schedule started falling apart. A negotiation session about mining rights was postponed because half the Calaxian delegation didn't show up. Sarah later learned they had been watching a live stream of a mother cat with newborn kittens. Training exercises were interrupted. A warrior named Shaktir was caught during weapons practice watching a video compilation titled Puppies Discover Stairs. When confronted, he claimed he was studying quadruped locomotion patterns. His scales were bright yellow with guilt. Factions formed. Some Calaxians insisted cats were superior Earth creatures. Others argued passionately for dogs. A heated debate broke out during a meal about whether a video of a cat sleeping in a sink was better than a video of a dog trying to fit its entire body through a cat door. Rixka was delighted. She and the other cubs watched videos together openly now, chittering with laughter. Sarah saw her teaching younger cubs which videos were the funniest, which ones were the cutest, what to search for. Vornthak instituted official clan video nights 3 times a week. The entire clan would gather around the large screen. They would vote on what to watch. Dogs, cats, otters, pandas, birds, farm animals, and wild creatures all had their fans. Sarah noticed changes in the clan. They smiled more. They were more patient with each other. Cubs asked questions without fear. Warriors admitted mistakes without shame. The whole atmosphere felt lighter. But not everyone was happy about it. 2 weeks after the first video night, Sarah received an angry message from Commander Zhang of the Human Diplomatic Corps. Dr. Chen, what exactly have you done to the Calaxians? They're acting bizarre. They miss meetings. They don't respond to important communications. Yesterday, 3 of their warriors asked me if humans preferred cats or dogs, and seemed offended when I said I didn't have a pet. Explain yourself. Sarah tried to write a professional response. She deleted it 3 times before settling on, I introduced them to animal videos. It's helped relations significantly. Commander Zhang's response was brief. Fix this. Now. But the Calaxians had their own problems. A message came from the Calaxian High Council demanding to know why Vornthak's clan had become non-responsive. Why were they not completing their assigned duties? Why were warriors reporting that they spent hours watching tiny earth creatures behave foolishly? An investigator was being sent. A High Council representative named Kesithra, a legendary warrior known for her strict adherence to tradition. She would arrive in 3 days to assess whether the clan had become compromised by human influence. Vornthak's scales went dark when he heard. He gathered the clan in the common area. No video screen this time, just serious talk. The council questions our strength, he said. They believe we have been weakened by the humans' archives. They send Kesthra to judge us. The warriors shifted uneasily. Kesithra's reputation was fierce. She had never failed a mission. She had never shown mercy to those who strayed from the warrior path. What do we do? Teklon asked.
Hide the tablets?
Pretend we never saw the archives. Vornthak's scales flickered. No, we tell them the truth. We show them what we have learned. They will remove you as clan leader, the Silver Elder said softly. They may dissolve the clan entirely. Make us join other groups? Perhaps, Vornthak agreed. But I will not pretend that watching Earth animals has weakened us. It has not. It has made us question things we should have questioned long ago. Sarah watched from the doorway. She felt responsible for all of this. She had just wanted to comfort a scared cub. Now an entire clan might be punished because of her. That night she couldn't sleep. She reviewed her files, trying to think of how to explain this to the investigators, how to make them understand that cat videos weren't corrupting the Calaxians. They were healing something broken in their culture. She was still awake when Rixka scratched at her door at midnight. Rixka?
What are you doing up?
The cub's scales were gray with worry. I heard the adults talking. They say the High Council might take our clan apart. Because of the videos, because of me. This isn't your fault, Sarah said firmly. But I asked you to show me. If I had just been stronger, if I had not needed comfort. Stop, Sarah said. She knelt down to the cub's level. Needing comfort isn't weakness. Being scared isn't failure. You were hurt and afraid and I helped you. That's what people do. That's what families do. But Calaxians are not supposed to need help. That's wrong, Sarah said. Everyone needs help sometimes. Even warriors. Even leaders. Especially children. Rixka's scales flickered between gray and yellow. The High Council will not see it that way. Then we'll make them see it, Sarah said, though she had no idea how. The next 2 days were tense. The Calaxians continued watching videos, but quietly, almost defiantly. They knew they might lose this soon. Sarah saw warriors saving their favorite videos to personal files, as if preparing for the archives to be taken away. Shaktir had moved on from puppy videos to watching veterinary videos of animals being rescued and healed. He explained to anyone who would listen that understanding earth medicine for small creatures might prove useful. No one believed that was why he watched, but no one called him out either. The Silver Elder had become obsessed with elephant videos. She watched elephants caring for their young, mourning their dead, playing in water, and showing affection to each other. She told Sarah it reminded her of what clans used to be like, before everything became about proving strength. On the morning Kesithra was due to arrive, Vornthak called Sarah to his office. Dr. Chen, Sarah, I want you to know that whatever happens, you have given my clan a gift. You showed us it is possible to be strong and also to feel joy. You reminded us that cubs need to be cubs, not just small warriors. You taught us that failure is part of learning, not a cause for shame. Sarah's eyes stung. I just showed you cat videos. You showed us ourselves, Vornthak corrected. Through the eyes of humans who love their small creatures, we saw what we had forgotten to love in ourselves. An alarm chimed. The shuttle had arrived. Kesithra was on the station. Stay out of sight for now, Vornthak advised. So let me speak with her first. If she sees the human immediately, she may assume the worst. Sarah agreed reluctantly. She went back to her quarters and waited. She checked her messages. Commander Jiang had sent 3 more angry messages demanding updates. The diplomatic situation was apparently falling apart on multiple fronts. Other alien species on the station were asking questions. Rumors were spreading. Hours passed. Sarah paced. She watched a cat video for comfort, which felt ridiculous under the circumstances. But the orange tabby chasing a laser pointer did make her feel slightly better. Finally, a knock at her door. It was Teklon. His scales were neutral blue. Kesithra wishes to meet you. Now, in the clan common area. How is it going? Sarah asked. Teklon's scales flickered. She has not declared us corrupted yet, but she is difficult to read. Even for us. Sarah followed him to the common area. The entire clan was gathered, silent and still. At the front stood a Calaxian unlike any Sarah had seen before. Kesithra was ancient, her scales more silver than any color. She moved slowly but with absolute confidence. Her eyes were sharp and missed nothing. Those eyes fixed on Sarah the moment she entered. Sarah felt like she was being examined at a cellular level. You are the human, Kesithra said. Not a question. Dr. Sarah Chen, yes. You have shown my people archives of Earth creatures. I have. Why? Sarah took a breath. Because a child was hurt and scared, and I wanted to help. Kesithra stared at Sarah for a long moment. Then she turned to Vornthek. A child was hurt, and instead of sending her to proper medical care, you allowed the human to interfere? The human is proper medical care, Vornthek said. Dr. Chen is the station's xenobiologist. She treated Rixka's wound professionally, and then showed her videos of Earth animals, Kesithra said. Why? Sarah stepped forward. Because she was trying not to cry. Because she was ashamed of being hurt. Because she was just a little girl who needed comfort, and your people don't seem to allow that. The common area went completely silent. Several Calaxian scales flickered with shock. No one spoke to Kesithra that way, but Kesithra's scales didn't darken with anger. They went very still. Explain. Sarah felt her courage building. She had nothing to lose now. Your culture is beautiful in many ways. You're strong, organized, and honorable, but you've forgotten how to be gentle. You've forgotten that children need to play, that adults need joy, that failing at something doesn't make you worthless. She gestured to the clan. These people haven't been weakened by cat videos. They've been reminded that life is more than just preparing for battle. You presume to understand our culture? Kesthra asked. No, Sarah admitted, but I understand what I've seen. I've seen Rixka go from a scared child to a happy one. I've seen warriors admit mistakes without shame. I've seen this entire clan become kinder to each other. If that's corruption, then I don't understand what strength is supposed to mean. Kesithra turned to Vornthek. Is this true? Has the clan changed? Vornthek's scales went firm blue. Yes, we have changed. We are still warriors. We still train. We still fulfill our duties. But we also laugh now. We also admit when we struggle. We also allow our cubs to be cubs. He paused. We are stronger because we are more complete. Give me an example, Kesithra demanded. Shaktir stepped forward. His scales flickered with nervousness. I failed a combat simulation last week. In the past, I would have hidden this failure, trained alone until exhaustion and felt shame. This time I told my training partner. He helped me identify the mistake. We practiced together. I passed the simulation 2 days later. He hesitated. I learned this from watching a video of puppies learning to climb stairs. They fell many times. They did not hide their failures. They simply tried again, often with help from their mother. The Silver Elder spoke next. I realized I had not embraced my grandson in 6 months. I thought physical affection would make him weak. After watching videos of Earth families with their creatures showing constant gentle touch, I asked myself why we had forgotten this. Her scales went soft pink. Now I embrace him daily. He trains better. He sleeps better. He smiles. Rixka took a brave step forward. I was terrified of disappointing my father. I thought if I failed again, he would send me away. The human showed me that small creatures fail constantly, but they are still loved. I asked my father if this was true for me. He said yes. She looked at Vornthek. Now I am not afraid to try new things. I learn faster because I am not frozen by fear. Kesthra listened to each testimony. Her scales remained neutral, unreadable. Finally, she said, "Show me these archives." Vornthek nodded to Sarah. Sarah pulled out her tablet with shaking hands. What video should she show? What could possibly convince this ancient warrior that cat videos had value? Then she remembered. She pulled up a specific video and handed the tablet to Kesithra. The video showed an old cat, gray-muzzled and slow. It was trying to jump onto a couch but couldn't quite make it anymore. After 2 failed attempts, a younger cat appeared. The younger cat positioned itself below the older one, providing a stepping platform. The old cat used the younger one to reach the couch. Then both cats curled up together, purring. Kesithra watched in silence. She watched it again. Her scales began to shift through colors Sarah had never seen. Silver fading to soft blue, then to pale purple, then to something almost white. How old is this creature? Kesithra asked quietly. The gray cat? Probably 15 or 16 years. That's very old for a cat. And the younger one helps it? Yes, because they care about each other. Kesithra's scales flickered. In Calaxian culture, when warriors grow too old to fight, they are given honored retirement. But they are also separated from active clan life. We tell ourselves it is to give them peace. But perhaps... She stopped. Sarah waited. Perhaps we are simply uncomfortable with weakness, Kesithra finished. Even the honorable weakness of age. She handed the tablet back to Sarah. Show me more. For the next hour, Sarah showed Kesithra carefully selected videos. Animals helping each other. Mothers caring for young. Old animals being gentle with babies. Creatures playing without purpose. Predators and prey coexisting peacefully in human homes. Kesithra watched everything with intense focus. She asked questions. Why do humans keep so many different species? How do they teach the creatures to live together? What purpose does play serve? Sarah answered each question honestly. We don't keep them for purpose. We keep them for love. Play serves no goal except joy, and joy is its own reason. We teach them to live together by being patient and kind, not through punishment. Finally, Kesithra set down the tablet. She looked at the assembled clan. I came here expecting to find a clan corrupted by human weakness. Instead, I find a clan that has remembered something we all forgot. The Calaxians waited, scales flickering with hope and fear. Kesithra continued. I am 300 years old. I have been a warrior for 280 of those years. I have led armies. I have conquered enemies. I have never failed a mission. Her scales went softer. But I have also not embraced another living being in 50 years. I have not played since I was a cub. I have not allowed myself to feel tenderness because I believed it was weakness. She turned to Sarah. You showed a hurt child a video of a small predator failing to jump. This simple act has changed an entire clan. It may change our entire species. Sarah's heart pounded. What are you saying? I am saying that the High Council sent me to assess corruption. Instead, I will report that this clan has discovered something valuable. Something we need. Kesithra's scales went bright blue, the color of certainty. I will recommend that these Earth archives be shared with all Calaxian clans. I will recommend that we examine our treatment of cubs, our attitude toward failure, our rejection of joy. Vornthak's scales flashed brilliant yellow. The clan erupted in chittering cheers. Rixka ran to her father, who caught her and embraced her openly. Kesithra held up one claw for silence. However, there must be conditions. You must still fulfill your duties. Training must continue. Warriors must remain warriors. We are finding balance, not abandoning discipline. Agreed, Vornthak said immediately. Kesithra turned to Sarah. Dr. Chen, the High Council will want to meet you. They will want to understand how one human changed so much with such a simple tool. I didn't change anything, Sarah protested. I just shared something I loved. Exactly, Kesithra said. You shared joy without expecting anything in return. This is a very human quality. Perhaps the most valuable one. The meeting ended with formal agreements. The clan would continue watching videos, but would also maintain their training schedules and diplomatic duties. Sarah would prepare a presentation for the High Council about human-animal relationships and their cultural significance. Commander Zhang was less pleased when Sarah explained the situation. But even he had to admit that Calaxian-human relations had improved dramatically. The Calaxians were now actively interested in Earth culture. They asked about human families, human child rearing, human concepts of play and leisure. 3 days after Kesithra's visit, Sarah received a message from a trade delegation of insectoid aliens called the Zix. They had heard rumors about Earth creature archives and wanted to know more. Then a message came from the aquatic Nar species. Then from the crystalline Veth, Sarah sat in her quarters, surrounded by meeting requests from alien species wanting to learn about cat videos. It was absurd. It was wonderful. It was the strangest form of diplomacy in the history of space exploration. Rixka visited that evening, bringing Sarah a gift. It was a small carved figure of a cat, made from station metal, scales painted bright orange. I made it, Rixka said proudly. It is a small hunter. Like in your videos. Sarah felt tears in her eyes. It's perfect. Thank you. No, Rixka said, her scales warm yellow. Thank you. You showed me it was okay to be small, to need help, to laugh. She paused. You gave me childhood. After Rixka left, Sarah looked at the carved cat. Then she looked at her calendar. Tomorrow she would meet with the Zix delegation. Next week, the High Council presentation. The week after that, a NAR representative wanted to discuss Earth marine animals. She opened her tablet and started creating files. Introduction to animal videos for non-human species. She would need different approaches for different cultures. The Zix might appreciate insect videos. The NAR would probably love ocean documentaries. The Veth, who communicated through light patterns, might enjoy bird videos. Sarah smiled. 6 months ago, she had been a lonely xenobiologist on a cold station, watching cat videos in her spare time to fight homesickness. Now she was accidentally bridging cultural gaps across the galaxy with those same videos.